There's this specific kind of obsession we all have with beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
You see it everywhere. In the tech world, it's all about the garage days of like Apple or Amazon.
Right, the origin story.
The origin story. We just can't get enough of it. We're fascinated not just by the hero, at the peak of their powers, but by that exact moment. The exact moment the world realized, oh, okay, everything is about to change.
It's the arrival. I like to call it the day one phenomenon.
Yeah.
We just love the idea of immediate, undeniable impact.
Exactly. And, when we talk about the NBA, usually the awards we really obsess over, they're retrospective, right?
So, Finals MVP, Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Fame jacket, the championship ring, those are career toppers. They're all about the destination.
Yeah, the culmination of everything.
But there is one award that's it's different. It isn't a summary, it's a prophecy. And that's the Rookie of the Year.
It is, I think, arguably the most honest award the league actually has. Well, think about it. There's no voter fatigue. You can't be tired of a guy who just got there.
That's a great point.
And there's no it's his turn narrative that you sometimes get with the league MVP where, someone's been great for 5 years, so we finally give it to him.
Right.
This is just a raw, unfiltered assessment of new talent hitting the ecosystem for the first time.
And looking at this massive stack of research we have in front of us for this deep dive, what really struck me is just how high the signal-to-noise ratio is with this award. You might think, oh, it's just the best new guy. Maybe he peaks at 22 and then just vanishes. But the data says the complete opposite.
It really does.
This award is essentially the first filter for the Hall of Fame.
It really is. We're going to get into specific numbers later on, but the hit rate, the correlation between winning Rookie of the Year and ending up in Springfield with a jacket is just, it's staggering. It really does separate the guys who have a good career from the absolute legends.
So that's our mission today. We are going to unpack the entire history of the NBA's top newcomer honor. We're going from the very first official winner back in 1953 all the way up to the present day with Stephon Castle.
And along the way, we've got to talk about the mechanics, the voting, some of the really weird red shirt loopholes that drive fans crazy every couple of years.
Oh, yeah. And the guys who won.
Yeah.
But the NBA literally erased them from the history books because of scandals.
The lost winners.
Yeah.
But I think we have to start with the hardware itself because the physical trophy just went through this massive identity shift that I think really changes how we view the award.
Right. Let's start there. The rebrand. For, 70 years, if you were the best rookie, you took home something called the Eddie Gottlieb Trophy.
Yep.
Now, just from a historical standpoint, Eddie Gottlieb he's a titan.
Oh, absolutely. The ultimate administrator. They called him the mogul.
The mogul.
He was the founder and coach of the Philadelphia Warriors. He literally made the league schedule by hand for years. I mean, without Eddie Gottlieb, there's a good chance the NBA just collapses in the 1950s.
Right.
And look, no disrespect to Eddie, he wasn't exactly striking fear into the hearts of defenders on the court.
He wasn't dropping 50 points a night, no.
He was a guy in a suit, an incredibly important guy in a suit, but a suit nonetheless.
Exactly. So, starting in the 2022-23 season, the NBA decided, you know what, let's align the trophy with the actual on-court achievement it represents.
And they renamed it the Wilt Chamberlain Trophy.
Which feels like the only logical choice, really, but I think we need to contextualize why Wilt is the standard, because we hear the name Wilt and we just think 100 points.
Right, big number.
But his rookie season, specifically the 1959-60 season, it's statistically offensive.
It honestly sounds like a typo in the record books.
Yeah.
It doesn't look real. In his rookie year, Wilt Chamberlain averaged 37.6 points per game.
37.6 points as a rookie.
And 27 rebounds per game.
27 rebounds.
And to top it all off, he played 46.4 minutes per game.
Wait. An NBA game is only 48 minutes long?
Exactly. That means he basically never, ever sat down.
That's insane.
So he didn't just win Rookie of the Year. In that one season, he won the All-Star Game MVP and the league regular season MVP.
All at once.
In his first year.
See, that's the context I wanted, because people often try to wave it away and say, oh, the pace was faster back then, which it's true. There were more possessions.
Sure, that's a factor.
But playing 46 minutes a night against guys who are physically trying to beat you up, that's not just pace. That's a different level of endurance.
It is. So naming the trophy after Wilt is the league's way of saying to every new winner, whether it's Paolo Banchero or Wemby or now Stephon Castle, here's the bar.
Good luck.
You will almost certainly never reach it, But this is what perfection looks like from day one.
And speaking of Stephon Castle, the 2024-25 winner, it's pretty interesting that the trophy currently resides in San Antonio because the Spurs have a very, very specific history with this award that we're definitely going to get to.
Oh, yeah.
But first, let's get under the hood of the award itself. How does this machine actually work?
So, on the surface, it's deceptively simple. The award was officially established in the 1952-53 season, and the criteria is just the best first-year player in the regular season.
And we have to stress, regular season. We see this confusion every single year. A rookie might have a pretty quiet year, but then he just explodes in the playoffs. Like, think about a guy like Tyler Harrow in the bubble a few years back.
Right. Big playoff moments.
Does that kind of playoff run help him win the award?
It helps him 0%. The ballots are usually due before the playoffs even tip off. It is an 82-game sample size, period.
So if you average, say, 30 in the playoffs, but only 8 in the regular season.
You are not winning Rookie of the Year. It's not a postseason award.
And who is actually casting these ballots? Because, in the NFL, you have the Associated Press. In college football, you have coaches involved in some of the big awards.
For the NBA, it's a panel of sports writers and broadcasters from both the United States and Canada. So it's the media.
And that's crucial, you think?
I think it's crucial because it removes what you could call a coach's bias.
Okay, explain that. How so?
Well, if coaches voted, you'd probably see a lot more votes for, the guy who plays hard-nosed defense or the guy on the winning team, even if his stats aren't great.
Or petty rivalries.
Or even petty rivalries where a coach just refuses to vote for a player who, dropped 40 on his team twice.
Right.
The media tends to look at the whole package, the stats, the narrative, the wow factor, and, importantly, individual brilliance, even if it's happening on a really bad team.
But it's not just pick one name, is it? Because that could lead to these weird plurality wins where a guy could win with 30% of the vote if it's a crowded field.
Correct. It's a weighted system, and understanding this little bit of math explains why we don't have more controversies. Voters pick a first, a second, and a third place on their ballot.
Okay.
First place is worth 5 points, second place gets you 3 points, and third place gets you 1 point.
So mathematically, this is designed to reward consensus, not just a flash in the pan.
Precisely. Let's say, player A is the most exciting rookie, highlights everywhere, half the voters put him first, but maybe the other half of the voters think he's inefficient, a chucker, so they leave him completely off their ballot.
Okay, so it's polarizing.
Very. Meanwhile, you have player B who is just solid, efficient, helps his team win games. He's not on SportsCenter every night, but everyone respects his game. So maybe almost everyone puts player B second on their ballot.
So player B could actually sneak in and win on the math because he appears on almost every ballot, whereas player A is the love him or hate him guy.
Theoretically, yes. It has happened.
Yeah.
It forces the voter to look at the entire field. It's not enough to be the favorite of a few. You have to be respected by the many. The winner is the one with the highest point total, period, regardless of who had the most first-place votes.
Which brings us to what I call the gold standard, because sometimes the math doesn't matter. Sometimes the choice is so obvious that everyone just agrees.
Unanimous club.
The Six Giants.
Yep.
In over 70 years of this award, with hundreds of opinionated writers who, let's be honest, love to be contrarians.
Oh, they love having a weird take.
Only 6 players have ever received every single first-place vote. Not one rogue voter.
It's actually harder to do than winning the MVP unanimously. Think about that. Stephen Curry is the only unanimous MVP in league history.
Wow.
But we have 6 unanimous rookies. Just shows that sometimes a rookie's talent is just so overwhelming, so undeniable, that there's no room for debate.
Okay, let's run through them because I think each one represents a kind of shift in the game. The first one on the list was 1984, Ralph Sampson.
And it's easy for people to forget now just how terrifying Ralph Sampson was as a prospect. He was 7'4", coming out of Virginia.
A giant.
But he didn't play like a stiff, slow 7-footer from the 50s. He could run the floor. He had a soft touch on his shot. He was agile.
He was kind of Wembanyama before Wembanyama, the original unicorn.
In a way, yeah. The Houston Rockets drafted him, and there was just zero debate. He was an immediate 20-10 guy. He looked like the future of the sport. Total no-brainer.
Then we have to jump forward to 1990, the Admiral, David Robinson. Now, his situation was very unique. He wasn't fresh out of college, strictly speaking.
No, and we'll definitely dive deep into his whole redshirt status later, but just purely talking about his performance. He entered the league at 24 years old.
Already a grown man.
He was physically a Greek god. He stepped onto the court for the San Antonio Spurs and was immediately one of the 5 best centers in the entire world. Not one of the best rookies, one of the best centers.
Yeah.
Unanimous.
Then there's this long gap, the entire 90s pass, the early 2000s pass. No unanimous winners. Not Michael Jordan, not Shaq, not LeBron, not Tim Duncan.
Right. And think about the competition. Shaq had to contend with a phenomenal rookie in Alonzo Mourning.
Okay.
LeBron had Carmelo Anthony, who had a historically great rookie season himself.
Right. That was a huge debate.
That's the thing. To be unanimous, you can't just be great. You have to be great in a year where nobody else is even close to your level.
It's about the vacuum around you, too. So 2011 arrives. Blake Griffin.
The highlight reel era begins.
Yes.
Blake had missed his actual draft year, 2009, due to that brutal kneecap injury. So he comes back in 2010-11, and he was just physically overwhelming. It wasn't just the dunks, which were iconic.
The Kia dunk.
It was his passing, his ball handling for a power forward. He was doing things guys his size just didn't do.
I remember that season so clearly. It felt like he was playing a different sport than the guys who were trying to guard him. He's jumping over cars in the dunk contest, but in the actual games, he was treating defenders like traffic cones. It was pure dominance.
He made the All-Star team as a rookie. And that's usually the threshold. If you're so good as a rookie that you make the All-Star team, you're probably winning Rookie of the Year unanimously.
Then, just 2 years later, 2013, Damian Lillard. This one is really interesting to me because he wasn't a hype guy. He wasn't Zion Williamson or some hashtag one pick everyone knew for years.
No, he was the opposite. He was a 4-year player from Weber State. Small school. A lot of people didn't know who he was.
But that experience mattered.
It mattered immensely. He walked on to the Portland Trail Blazers and played like a 10-year veteran from his first game. He was so composed, the voters value that kind of polish. He wasn't making rookie mistakes. He was closing games.
Total control. Then, 2016, Karl Anthony Towns.
Kate. This was the prototype of the modern big man. He could shoot the three, he could post you up, he could handle the ball a bit. He averaged a double-double for the Timberwolves so effortlessly, it was almost boring.
He just produced every single night.
Every night, no debate.
And finally, the most recent member of this very exclusive club, 2024. Victor Wembanyama.
The alien.
Yeah.
This was, without a doubt, the easiest vote in the history of the award. You had Chet Holmgren, who had a fantastic rookie season for Oklahoma City.
Historically great, even.
Statistically, one of the best rookie seasons ever for a defender. In almost any other year in NBA history, Chet wins Rookie of the Year probably easily.
But he ran into a buzzsaw.
He ran into a 7'4" guy who was leading the entire league in blocks, hitting step-back threes, and doing things that, frankly, physics shouldn't allow a person to do. It would have been actual malpractice to vote for anyone else.
It's so interesting to me that 4 of those 6, Sampson, Robinson, Towns, Wembanyama, are big men.
Well, it speaks to the visual impact, doesn't it?
I think so.
A dominant guard can control a game, for sure. But a dominant 7-footer changes the geometry of the entire court. They alter every shot at the rim. They grab every rebound. It's just impossible to ignore a great big man. Their impact is visceral.
You know, we mentioned Wilt and how he won the MVP and Rookie of the Year in the same season, and it feels like an unbreakable record, you know, like DiMaggio's hit streak.
It feels like it should be.
But he actually isn't the only one to do it.
No, there is one other name in that club. You have to go to the 1968-69 season. Wes Unseld.
Wes Unseld, the Baltimore Bullet.
Who was built like a refrigerator.
He absolutely was. But here's the crazy part. He was only 6'7" playing center.
6'7", but he was just immovable. He had this incredible strength. He didn't score much. He averaged something like 13 points a game.
That's it for an MVP.
But he grabbed 18 rebounds a game. And his outlet passing, he was famous for it. He would grab a defensive rebound and throw a perfect 80-foot chest pass to a streaking guard. He turned the defensive rebound into a fast break faster than anyone in history.
So the voters looked at him and said, okay, he's not scoring 30, but he fundamentally changed the team's entire identity.
The Baltimore Bullets went from last place in their division to first place.
Yeah.
Literally worst to first. The voters rewarded the winning. So they gave him both the MVP and the Rookie of the Year. We haven't seen it happen since.
Why do you think that is? I mean, we've had some magical rookies. Magic Johnson started at center in the NBA Finals as a rookie and won Finals MVP.
Right.
Michael Jordan averaged 28 a game. Why no league MVP for them?
I think the league is just too talented now. The gap between a 20-year-old rookie, no matter how good, and a 28-year-old in his prime Nikola Jokic or Giannis Antetokounmpo is just too wide.
Physically and mentally.
Both. Wilt and Wes played in an era where a true physical outlier could just bully the entire league immediately. The general talent pool wasn't as deep.
That makes sense. The learning curve is just so much steeper now. And speaking of learning curves, I want to talk about the predictive power of this award. You called it the first filter earlier.
Right. So if you take the list of all the Rookie of the Year winners who are eligible for the Hall of Fame, so basically they've been retired for long enough.
Okay.
30 of them are in the Hall.
30. That is a staggeringly high percentage compared to, say, the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year award.
It is. In football, a running back can win Rookie of the Year by having a huge workload and then be completely burned out in 4 years.
Right. The position is brutal.
In basketball, if you are skilled enough and talented enough to dominate as a rookie, you usually have the fundamental toolkit to dominate for a decade or more. You just look at the names on that list. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Allen Iverson.
Allen Iverson, 1996-97. That wasn't just a stats win for him. That was a cultural win.
Oh, absolutely. The crossover on Jordan, the baggy shorts, the braids. He announced that a new era was arriving.
Yeah.
And that's what this award does best. It signals the arrival of the next one.
But, and this is where we get into the weeds, sometimes the definition of a rookie is a little pliable.
The anomalies. This is my favorite part of the rule book.
We absolutely need to talk about the red shirts because it feels like every few years a guy wins Rookie of the Year after sitting out a full season, and NBA Twitter just melts down. He's not a rookie, he's a sophomore.
It's the Ben Simmons rule debate, or before that, the Blake Griffin rule debate.
Okay, let's break down the actual logic here because it's important. Blake Griffin gets drafted #1 overall in 2009 by the Clippers, breaks his kneecap in the preseason, doesn't play a single second of a regular season game.
Right. So according to the official NBA bylaws, his rookie clock has not started. You are a rookie in the first year that you actually play in a regulation game. Sitting on the bench in a suit doesn't count.
So what does he do for that whole 2009-10 season?
He's traveling with the team. He's sitting in the film sessions. He's working with NBA-level strength and conditioning coaches. He's eating food prepared by NBA nutritionists.
That's the core of the argument against it, isn't it? The advantage of the NBA diet for a year.
And it is a real tangible advantage. When Blake finally debuted in 2010-11, he was physically much more mature and prepared than the guys who were drafted in 2010, like John Wall. He had a full year of professional conditioning under his belt.
And he came out and won the award unanimously.
He did. And then a few years later, Ben Simmons did the exact same thing. Drafted in 2016, broke his foot, sat out the whole year, came back in 2017-18 and won.
I remember that year vividly because Donovan Mitchell, who was the true rookie in that class, was making a huge deal out of it.
Oh, the pettiness was elite.
Yeah.
He wore a hoodie to a game that just said rookie on the front with the official dictionary definition printed on it.
Just trolling Simmons.
It was great theater. But here's the counter-argument, to be fair to Blake and Ben.
Okay.
While they had the advantage of all that professional training, they also had the massive disadvantage of rust. They hadn't played in a real competitive basketball game in something like 18 months. That is incredibly tough to overcome.
That's a fair point. Game speed is different, but it's not just injuries that create these situations. Sometimes it's a choice or a duty.
David Robinson, the commitment delay.
This is a story that just feels impossible in the modern NBA.
Completely. It would never happen today. So Robinson played at the Naval Academy. He was 7'1", clearly the best player in the country. The Spurs drafted him #1 overall in 1987.
No way.
Knowing he couldn't play for them.
Because if you go to the Naval Academy, you owe Uncle Sam some time.
He had a 2-year active duty commitment to the Navy. He served as a civil engineering officer. So the Spurs basically stashed their franchise savior on a naval base for 2 years and just waited.
Can you even imagine a GM surviving that press conference today? Hey, great news. I drafted our new franchise player. He'll be here in 2027.
You'd be fired before the press conference is over.
Oh.
But it worked. Robinson kept in shape. He played for the U.S. Olympic team in '88. And when he finally arrived in San Antonio in '89, he was a fully formed adult. He was 24 years old. He just destroyed the teenagers he was playing against.
And then you have the Larry Bird situation, which was a little different.
Right. Bird was drafted in 1978 by the Celtics. There was this weird junior eligible rule back then where you could draft a player before their senior year of college.
Okay.
But Bird told the Celtics, thanks, but no thanks. I'm not coming yet. I want to try to win a national title at Indiana State with my teammates.
You wanted one more run at it.
He did. And Red Auerbach, the genius GM of the Celtics, said, fine, I'll wait. He signed him to a contract, but allowed him to play his senior year of college.
Which, of course, led to that famous championship game against Magic Johnson.
The game that basically saved college basketball and the NBA. So Bird loses that game, then comes to Boston in 1979.
And it set up the perfect narrative, right? Bird versus Magic, rookie versus rookie, East versus West, Celtics versus Lakers.
It was perfect. And it's funny, Magic actually won the NBA Finals MVP that rookie year, but Bird won Rookie of the Year because his regular season stats were just a little bit better, and he turned the Celtics around so dramatically. It was the start of the rivalry that defined the 80s.
There's one more oddity in this category, Jerry Lucas. This is a real deep cut.
This is the contract dispute rookie. Very weird one. So Jerry Lucas was a legend at Ohio State, a huge star, drafted by the Cincinnati Royals in 1962.
But he didn't want to play for them right away.
No. He actually tried to sign with a team in a rival league, the ABL, the American Basketball League.
A rival league.
A very short-lived rival league. He signed with a team called the Cleveland Pipers, which was owned by young George Steinbrenner.
The New York Yankees guy.
The very same. But the whole thing was a mess. The team folded, the league folded, and Lucas ended up having to sit out the entire year.
So he just didn't play.
Didn't play at all. He didn't make his debut for the Royals until the 1963 season. And, just like the others we mentioned, the year off didn't seem to hurt him. He came in and won Rookie of the Year.
It almost seems like taking a year off is the best strategy if you want to win this award.
If you can afford to do it, the redshirt year seems to produce some incredibly polished winners, that's for sure.
Now, earlier we talked about how the weighted voting system is designed to prevent ties.
Right, it's supposed to.
But our research shows the system is not foolproof. We have ties.
You do. 3 different times in history, the voters were so perfectly split that we had to crown co-rookies of the year.
I think the most famous one, the one everyone remembers, has to be 1994-95. Grant Hill and Jason Kidd.
It was the perfect storm. You had 2 completely different players who were both incredible. You had Grant Hill in Detroit. He was Mr. Nice Guy, polished, came from Duke, this smooth scoring machine.
The heir apparent to Michael Jordan, they said.
That was the narrative. And then you had Jason Kidd in Dallas, all flash, this passing genius, California cool, changing the game with his vision.
They were the undisputed future of the league, and they arrived at the same time.
And the vote ended up in a dead heat. And honestly, looking back on it, it was the right call. They both deserved it. They both ended up in the Hall of Fame. It was the correct inability to decide.
What were the other 2 ties?
The first one was way back in 1971 between Dave Cowens of the Celtics and Jeff Petrie of the Blazers.
Okay.
And the most recent one was in the year 2000. Elton Brand and Steve Francis.
That is a great contrast in styles right there.
It really is. Elton Brand was this fundamental, some would say boring, but incredibly effective power forward for the Bulls. Just a 20-10 machine.
All substance.
All substance. And then you had Steve Francis, Stevie Franchise, for the Houston Rockets. All dunks, crossovers, insane highlights, pure style.
And the voters just couldn't decide between the substance and the style.
So they just picked both.
I want to zoom out from the individual players for a second and look at the map. Because if you track the winners of this award over time, you are basically tracking the globalization of the game of basketball.
Oh, absolutely. It's a perfect timeline. For the first, 50 years of its existence, this was an American award. The pipeline was completely rigid. American high school to the NCAA to the NBA. That was it.
So who was the first glitch in the matrix? Who broke the hold?
Well, the first little ripple was Patrick Ewing back in 1986. He was born in Jamaica.
Right.
But he moved to the U.S. when he was 11. He played at Georgetown. He played for Team USA in the Olympics. So he was international by birth, but completely American by his basketball upbringing.
So not a true international product.
No. The real earthquake was the 2001-02 season. Pau Gasol.
The Spaniard.
Pau was completely different. He never played a second of NCAA ball. He came straight from FC Barcelona's pro team.
A seasoned pro.
When he won Rookie of the Year for the Memphis Grizzlies, it was like a signal flare went up for every GM in the league.
Yeah.
It said, you don't need to just watch the Final Four to find your next franchise player. You can go to Spain. You can go anywhere.
And now, in the years since, the floodgates are just completely open.
Just look at the last decade or so. Kyrie Irving was born in Australia. Andrew Wiggins is from Canada. Karl Anthony Towns represents the Dominican Republic. Ben Simmons is from Australia. Luka Dončić from Slovenia. And now, Victor Wembanyama from France.
It's almost becoming rare for an American college player to win it anymore.
And this connects right back to that redshirt idea we were talking about. We talked about how Blake Griffin had an advantage because he sat out a year and trained with pros.
Right.
Well, Luka Dončić had an even bigger advantage than that.
Professionalism.
Exactly. Luka started playing for Real Madrid's senior team when he was 16 years old. In 2018, the year before he was drafted by the Mavericks, he was the MVP of the EuroLeague, the second-best basketball league in the world.
So he was playing against grown men, fighting for his paycheck, dealing with hostile crowds in places like Greece and Turkey.
So when he got to the NBA and people in the media were asking, can this kid handle the pressure? It was laughable.
He must have been laughing at them.
He was. He stepped onto the court in Dallas and looked like a 10-year veteran because in many ways he already was a veteran. The same thing with Wembanyama playing for Metropolitans 92 in France. These guys aren't rookies in the traditional sense of the word. They are seasoned pros who are just entering a new league.
It really does raise a provocative question for the future of the sport then. Is the college pathway dead for the truly elite future Rookie of the Year level talent?
It's certainly under siege. If your goal is to be ready to win this award and dominate from day one, the data now suggests that playing professional ball in Europe, or even in the G League Ignite program, might be far better preparation than playing zone defense against 19-year-olds in the NCAA.
LaMelo Ball is another perfect example.
Perfect example. He skipped college entirely and went to play Pro Bowl in Lithuania and then Australia.
He went the mercenary route.
He did. And he came to the NBA and won Rookie of the Year. The traditional 4-year college player, like Damian Lillard, is becoming the dinosaur in this equation.
Okay, let's pivot from the players to the teams, because while the player gets the trophy, the team is the one that has to draft them. So who has the best eye for young talent? Or maybe the better question is, who is just consistently lucky enough to be bad enough to get the high draft picks?
That's the catch-22 of this award, isn't it? To get a Rookie of the Year, you usually have to have been a terrible team the year before to get that high pick. So the leaders on this list are franchises that have, let's say, historically struggled at times.
So who's at the top of the leaderboard?
The Golden State Warriors franchise leads the way. Now, of course, they're a dynasty now, but if you look back at their history as the Philadelphia Warriors and the San Francisco Warriors, they spend a lot of time in the lottery.
And they have how many winners?
They have 6 winners.
6. Who are the big names on that list?
It's a murderer's row of talent. Woody Salisbury back in '58, Wilt Chamberlain in '60, Rip Barry in '66, Jamal Wilkes in '75, Mitch Richmond in '89, and Chris Webber in '94.
Wow, that is a staggering list of offensive talent. Mitch Richmond, part of Run TMC, C. Webb in his prime.
It's a franchise that has historically valued scoring. They draft guys who can put the ball in the basket. Even Stephen Curry, though he didn't win Rookie of the Year, he famously lost to Tyreek Evans. He still fits that mold perfectly.
Who is chasing the Warriors on that list?
The Clippers and the Kings franchises are right behind them. They both have 5 winners each.
Okay, the Clippers makes total sense, given they were the laughingstock of the league for about 30 straight years.
Exactly. Bob McAdoo, Terry Cummings, Blake Griffin, they just had a lot of very high picks for a very long time. And the Kings franchise, that includes their days as the Cincinnati Royals and Rochester Royals, they've had legends like Oscar Robertson and Jerry Lucas, and more recently, Tyreek Evans.
Tyreek Evans, I forgot he won. That was an unbelievable rookie season. He averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists right out of the gate.
He did. He unfortunately peaked very early in his career, but that specific rookie season was historic. He joined Oscar Robertson and Michael Jordan as the only rookies in history to post those 25-5 numbers.
Now, here is a stat from our research that just completely blew my mind. There are some very successful, well-run franchises that have never had a Rookie of the Year winner.
Yep, the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat.
0 for both of them.
0.
Not even with Dwayne Wade in Miami.
Wade was fantastic, but he was in the same draft class as LeBron James, who won it in 2003-04.
Ah, right. Just tough luck. A brutal year to be a rookie. And the Nuggets. Jokic.
Nikola Jokic was a second-round pick who developed slowly. He wasn't that Rookie of the Year type of immediate explosion. He only averaged about 10 points a game as a rookie.
So it really shows that you don't necessarily need a Rookie of the Year to build a championship culture. In fact, maybe it even helps not to rely on one teenage savior.
Well, that's the Miami Heat culture in a nutshell, right?
Mm-hmm.
They develop guys, they find diamonds in the rough in the second round or undrafted. They don't typically tank for the #1 pick.
Okay, I want to go into the X-Files portion of this deep dive. The unofficial history, the lost winners.
The Lost Files. This is where it gets a little bit dark and weird.
So the award officially starts in the 1952-53 season with a guy named Don Meineke. But basketball existed before 1952. Why does the NBA pretend that it didn't?
Well, that's the thing. Prior to 1952-53, newspaper writers did select a Rookie of the Year every season. And for a brief moment in the 1990s, the NBA actually acknowledged these guys in their official encyclopedia and media guides.
Okay, so they were recognized at one point.
They were, but then
Yeah.
they stopped. They were just scrubbed from the official record books. They vanished.
Why the erasure? What happened?
It has a lot to do with the college point-shaving scandals of the early 1950s.
The CCNY scandal.
Exactly. Several massive college stars who came into the league in that era were later implicated in fixing college games for gamblers. And the most famous one among the lost winners is a guy named Alex Groza.
Groza. Is he related to the NFL kicker Lou Groza?
That's his brother. But Alex Groza was a basketball phenom at Kentucky. He won the unofficial Rookie of the Year in 1949-50 for the Indianapolis Olympians. He was an all-star. He was a stud.
But then the scandal broke.
The scandal broke, and he was banned from the NBA for life.
So the NBA just scrubbed his award and the awards around it to avoid the association with the scandal.
That's essentially what happened. They wanted a clean slate. So Don Meineke became the official first winner because he was safely post-scandal.
So who else got erased from history?
In 1947-48, it was a guy named Paul Hoffman of the Baltimore Bullets. In 1948-49, it was Howie Shannon. And in 1950-51, it was Paul Arizin.
Wait a minute, Paul Arizin is a Hall of Famer. Pitchin' Paul.
He is. He's one of the 50 greatest players of all time. But the NBA does not officially recognize his Rookie of the Year award because it falls into that lost era.
That feels like a clerical crime against basketball history.
And the weirdest one of all is the year right before the official start, 1951-52. There was actually a tie between two players, Bill Tosheff and Mel Hutchins.
A lost tie.
A lost tie. And because the NBA doesn't recognize this era, Bill Tosheff spent years, decades, actually lobbying the league for recognition.
Lobbying for what, exactly? Just the honor.
For recognition, and also for pension benefits for the pre-1965ers. He was technically a co-rookie of the year that the league had just decided to forget existed. He finally got the league to acknowledge those pre-1953 years in that encyclopedia, but they still aren't on the official trophy list you'll see on NBA.com.
Justice for Bill Tosheff. It's just fascinating how sports history can be curated like that. Just snip. And those 5 years are gone.
It is. If you look at the official site today, Don Meineke is the genesis point. Everything that came before is just myth.
Right. Let's bust a myth that actually exists in the present day. The myth of the #1 pick.
The big one. The assumption is simple. The worst team gets the best player in the draft, the #1 pick. So that player should win Rookie of the Year.
It makes perfect logical sense. You are the best prospect. You go to a bad team that needs you to play big minutes and score a lot of points.
But the data just doesn't support it as a guarantee. Not even close.
Yeah.
Only 22 winners of the Rookie of the Year award were actually drafted first overall.
Only 22. That seems incredibly low. That's what, like a 30% hit rate over the history of the award?
It means that being picked first is not a golden ticket.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it often means you are going to a dysfunctional organization that might not know how to develop you. Or the pressure is just too immense.
So that means we have some massive steals on this list. Guys who were drafted way later but came in and just outplayed all the blue chippers.
The biggest steal in the history of the award, by pure draft position, has to be Woody Salisbury.
The 1957-58 winner.
He was drafted 60th overall.
60th. That's literally the last pick of the draft in modern terms. Mr. Irrelevant. How does a 60th pick win Rookie of the Year?
It was a very different era. Fewer teams, a smaller league, but still.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. He came out of Texas Southern, a historically black college. He played for the Philadelphia Warriors alongside Paul Arizin. He was just this tough, defensive-minded forward who outworked everyone. He averaged about 12 points and 10 rebounds.
That is just an inspiring story. Who else is on that list of steals?
More recently, and a great example, is Malcolm Brogdon in 2016-17. He was a second-round pick, 36th overall, out of Virginia.
I remember that race. He was so steady, so mature. They called him the president.
And while all the high lottery picks from that class were either struggling with inefficiency or injured, that was the year Ben Simmons missed. Brogdon just played solid, fundamental basketball for a good Milwaukee Bucks team. He was efficient. He shot 40% from three. He wasn't flashy, but he was undeniably the best rookie who played that year.
And what about Mark Jackson?
Mark Jackson was drafted 18th in 1987. So not a top lottery pick. But he went to his hometown New York Knicks and immediately started dropping assists like a seasoned veteran. He averaged over 10 assists a game and beat out guys like David Robinson's teammate Kenny Smith to win it.
It just proved that fit and opportunity matter so, so much. You can be the #1 pick, but if you're stuck behind an established veteran or the coach just doesn't trust you, you're not going to get the stats you need to win.
Exactly. Opportunity is the biggest variable for any rookie. You need the minutes, you need the green light.
I want to do a quick nod to the geography of talent here. We talked a lot about the international wave, but for the U.S. colleges, who runs the ROI factory?
It's the Blue Bloods, as you'd probably expect.
Duke has to be high on the list.
Duke has a very strong list. Grant Hill, Elton Brand, Kyrie Irving, and most recently, Paolo Banchero.
Okay. What about North Carolina?
UNC has a very prestigious list as well. You've got Bob McAdoo, Walter Davis, Phil Ford, Vince Carter, and of course, Michael Jordan.
Can't forget MJ. Any other school that stands out?
LSU, Louisiana State, actually punches way above its weight class here.
Yeah.
They had Bob Pettit way back in the day, then Shaquille O'Neal, and Ben Simmons played his 1 year of college there.
It's interesting how certain schools just seem to prepare guys for the pro game better. Or maybe they just get to recruit the guys who are already ready.
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But the overall trend, as we discussed, is definitely shifting away from the college program player and more toward that individual, often international talent.
So we've unpacked the whole history, the weird voting math, the forgotten winners, the red shirts, and the international revolution. When you take a step back and look at this entire timeline, from Don Meineke in '53 to Stephon Castle today, what is the big takeaway for you?
I think the award acts as a perfect year-by-year snapshot of basketball's evolution. In the 60s and 70s, you just see the complete and total dominance of the center. Wilt, Kareem, Willis Reed, Dave Cowens. The big man was the only thing that mattered.
And then the shift happens.
Then you get to the 80s and 90s, and you see the rise of the superstar wing and guard, Jordan, Iverson, Vince Carter, and later LeBron. The game literally moved from the paint to the perimeter.
And now, what era are we in now?
Now we are firmly in the era of the unicorn. Wembanyama, Paolo Banchero, Luka Dončić, these positionless, incredibly skilled, large human beings who can do literally everything on the court. The Rookie of the Year winners tell the story of how the game is played and how it has changed.
It's amazing. And looking at the trophy, the Wilt Chamberlain Trophy, it really does feel like we've come full circle. We're honoring the most dominant physical force in the history of the game while we're welcoming this new generation of physical marvels.
And honestly, with the way these international players are coming into the league now, with years of pro experience already, it raises a final provocative thought for me.
What's that?
Is the very definition of a rookie fundamentally changing? When Larry Bird won this award, he was a 22-year-old senior from college. He was a man. When LeBron won, he was an 18-year-old kid straight out of high school.
Two totally different kinds of rookies.
Completely. And now we have guys like Luka and LaMelo who have been earning professional paychecks since they were 16.
It's a different kind of rookie, a different level of preparation.
It is.
Yeah.
And as the global game continues to expand and develop, that gap between amateur and pro is just going to keep shrinking. The next Wilt Chamberlain might be playing professionally at age 15 somewhere in Europe or Africa right now, and we just don't know it yet.
That is a both terrifying and incredibly exciting thought. The future is definitely here. This has been an absolute blast unpacking all this Rookie of the Year history.
It's always a pleasure to look at the numbers and the stories behind them.
And to you listening, thanks for diving deep with us. Whether you're a rookie listener or a veteran subscriber, we really appreciate you. We'll see you on the next deep dive.
Take care, everyone.